afternoon, guys. Welcome to a live from Marble Mart. Today it's half term, the kids are off, the weather is rubbish outside, and once you've run out of places to go to entertain them, obviously people use their tablets and whatnot. Today I'm going to be just building something. I've got loads of pieces, loads of interesting bits and bobs to make marble runs fun and entertaining, including lots of dinosaurs and lots of people. We've even got some marble stuff and lots of elevators and mechanical bits that can make it more interesting for kids. These are what I use to get the balls from low down to high. This one's got a really cool sound effect. So, anyway, so the balls generally roll up that way. I should probably get some marbles. Thinking about. Now, there's my marbles. Look, now they're on a plate with tissue for a very particular reason, in that the giant marble run I have just finished and taken apart was ended with them plunging into foamy water. So if you do want to check that out, it will be up later today. So these guys are had their bath and now they're just drying out. They'll be ready for when we have to use them shortly. Now, if at any point anyone gets cut off throughout this, or if I get cut off, apologies, just reconnect. And if you are just passing through my channel, or you just happen to watch for a little bit, give the channel a subscribe. It's mostly appreciated. Right, without any further ado, let's set something going. So I'll tell you what, we will start with the staircase, the wonderful pink staircase. See if yeah, I don't think they are. That's okay. Notice that these lives are a little bit of an unknown quantity at this point in time. Obviously, I've only got 1,000 subscribers. If I had 10,000, I might get a few more people jumping on straight away. And obviously, a lot of my people that like to watch my videos are asleep right now, being on different parts of the planet. But I know there's a nice chunk of the home crowd that do generally watch. And I know for a fact, having kids myself, that a lot of those will be off school at the moment. So I just need to hang around long enough for them to see it. Right, so with this particular one, the ramp has to sort of butt up against the first step. So that's what's probably going to work out first. Now, it doesn't go as high as my other elevator, but I don't need to do a huge one straight away, certainly if not many people are watching today, but that's okay. We can always adapt, improvise, and overcome a little bit further down the line. Now, orientation is probably the hardest part to think about ahead of time, because you just have to make sure that you're on an even number wherever you put it. So I might just put it on an odd number, you see. The rest of the track will also be on an odd number. That is a pain. Right, so there we go. There's the first bit down. Sorry about this no music. I don't know why that's on by default, but thank you, China, for doing that. Right, okay. Right, so when the platform is at its lowest, that's when we need to be able to get the first ball onto this bit, just there. So we have to think about how that's possible. We also have to think about, we don't want marbles going underneath, because it really gets unhappy if you try and do that. Right, so we'll send the track. It now has to be one level high no matter where we go. Can't go any lower than that. And because we used a ramp, that means we're on layer 2 already. I'm just going to throw a few greens down here. They don't really show up that well on camera. We swap out to some colour. Swap out to yellows, because they you can see them a bit better. They contrast against the base. Yeah, the one I was doing just before this was as long as this table is end to end, and it had many different ways that it could come down, and I had one of 3 ways, and the third way, dumped it into a vat of bubble mix. So all of my marbles this morning had a bath, which is nice for them. Right, so we've made it up to here. So we now have to sort of put some flats. If you think, why my hand's pink, that's red food colouring. Who knew that it dyes the skin forever? I didn't. But right, so if you look, these are the sorts of bits that I have at my disposal. It's quite a comprehensive bucket. I have 2 of those. I've got another one here. I divvy up my bits into these various buckets so I can find stuff efficiently. I still end up rooting around for the bits. Right, here we go then. Right, so here we go. The marbles will now travel down here and eventually get onto the first step of the staircase there. I did want this staircase in blue. I did try, but China had sold all of their blue ones and was only selling pink ones when I wanted to buy mine. So that's why I have a pink one. Right, so now we have to be careful about running track for too long without dropping it down again. If you do that, and all the sort of momentum is lost, and the ball just sort of will stop and go back the other way, which is a pain. Okay, we're good to hear. So that's what we're carry on. We'll just keep it going now. I generally like to build them up this way, so front facing people can see everything. All of my Duplo is somewhere between 5 years and 40 years old. It's all upcycled, it's all recycled. Obviously, we don't want to be throwing stuff like this away when it is built to last forever. It's really good to use something more than once. See here, I've now got the ability to turn this sort of crescent shape, which is a nice way to smoothly get around the corner without losing too much momentum. You soon get accustomed to thinking about that all of the time when you're building, and it still catches me out that I'll build a piece and then I'll run a couple of test marbles down and just store. But you try to be keep that in your mind. If you run out of sort of kinetic energy, gravity, that you will come a cropper and your marble run will just cease to work. Now, obviously, there's lots of little things we can put in to make marble runs interesting. I mean, these were the first thing I bought, the first sort of non-track or brick accessory, long before I had these. And when I would just feed the marbles into the top, in fact, my very first video, my most popular video, features this very fella. Yeah, so I try to get him out whenever possible to show my appreciation. So I'll just keep this track going. Like I say, I use the retro blocks. They are quite sort of big to look at, and you have to sort of factor that in the sort of benefits. You can build really large, robust structures out of these. I've made ones taller than myself. If you go on my channel and search for the Burj Khalifa build, that is a monster. All right, so we will keep going. We'll do a little test now because I've put some track down and we've got all the way around. As long as it gets to here, and it can roll off that noise. It should just spit the marble out of the top. Thank you very much. Turn it off. Right. Keep going and keep going until I'm interrupted by something. And I will continue to give my riveting narration about marble runs. You might wonder why I started marble running. It wasn't that I was like a marble run fan or anything like that. When my little boy was born, bit of a game changer. when he was sort of about 2, 3 and starting to use a tablet and things like that, he's found his way onto YouTube inevitably. We let him watch some YouTube, and the things that we found that he liked was marble videos, ones that were already out there. And they came in all sorts of different flavors, everything from running marbles down sand to sort of slow builds. A lot of it's ASMR type stuff, where the builder doesn't say a word. And a lot of my videos are similar. It's actually quite therapeutic to sit and build quietly. But obviously, when you're doing a live like this, it's just polite to talk. So that's what I'm doing. So yeah, he was born, and yeah, he was watching these videos, and I thought, oh, you know what? Christmas is coming up. I'll buy him a set. So that's what I did. I went onto the internet, and I found a set that looked very similar to the sets that he has been watching. The problem was, and I factored this in, is that at 2 years old, nearly 3 years old, he was still way too young to actually build the things that he enjoyed to watch. He would add, push two things together, and obviously it won't work. So that meant Mummy and Daddy would have to build the marbles for him, which is fine. No problems with that. Except you then start thinking, because you start building stuff like this, you then start thinking, well, if I'm building stuff like this, maybe I could record it. And that was about 50 long form videos ago. Right. Now the problem with these dinosaurs, they're made in such a funny sort of length that you always have to have compromise getting the marble in or out. They're the wrong height and the wrong length. I don't know what they were thinking when they designed it. Right, so we now have to figure out how to line up the dinosaur's mouth with the exit ramp and get the marble, the height, to get the marble into his tail in the first place. I'll just rustle in my box. Got to find the bits you need to make it happen. So that would work. The marble still has enough momentum to get to the lift, which is good. But now we have to figure out how to get the marble into the tail, and this is often where the obstacles lie. So it means figuring out the height. Height is first, then we'll figure out what will be the next inevitable problem, and there will be one. They've just built such a funny shape. Right, here we go. So if you are watching live, just say hello in the comments. That'd be nice. I think I've had any live comments yet. Though this is only my second attempt at doing a live. I've been doing lots of YouTube just lately over the last 3 months. Lots of videos. The videos that I film that obviously take lots of editing after the fact as well. So it's not as simple as recording something, walking away. You're then committed to making that into something. If you are watching and wondering what's going on with my hand, I used some food colouring earlier in one of my builds. It seems like an odd thing to add into a marble run, but when you build so many, it's all about making them interesting and new for people that want to watch. It's not always about trying to make the biggest. It's about making things that are interesting for people to watch. It is a form of entertainment after all. So yeah, so as you can see, there's a tiny gap here that we have to clear in order to get into the dinosaur tail. And the best way to do that is to add a bit of speed. Right, so if we think about what we need, well, there's a few things we could probably do, but this uses quite a lot of height. So just find a marble and stick in, see what that behaves like. It might. I done dropped it straight away. That looks like it's working okay. Yeah, I quite like that. That's okay. So the next one we're going to try and work in is this fella. This guy is flat. There's no sort of height changes as a result of using him, but his legs are a little bit short, which is a bit of a pain. Again, we have to use these half blocks to sort of get them to the right height. As you can see, he's got to be raised up considerably to make him work. So I'll get him on the next switchback. But now we've got probably a bit too much height for this elevator. That's okay. We can figure that out as we go along. That's the beauty of marble runs. They are not definitive and they're not final. Everything is in a state of flux until you switch on at the end and watch the marbles go around. But my biggest piece of advice is if you're building something freehand without instruction, like I am now, test every few pieces to make sure your marble will get to the bottom. There's nothing worse than building the entire thing and have it stall or stop at a stage where you could have quite easily avoided it if you'd have known about it. So keeping the speed up is probably the what I'm trying to say. Sometimes I quite like to colour coordinate my bricks. I've got quite a lot of red, green, blue and yellow. Today I'm just mixing the colours as we go, just makes things a little faster on the build. I've noticed that YouTube can be a bit random, like with regards to cutting you off midstream. I would really like to avoid that today. Right, so as you can see, another wonderful design. We've got this little ramp here is short, so it's 6 long, but obviously it doesn't overlap into the next. And if I then put that one under, it then makes this a 3 remaining, which is useless. So we have to then get really thin blocks to sort of hold it up. And that way, as a side result of making marble runs for my son Charlie, we have had to learn to make the marble runs tough. That means overlocking the bricks. That means like overlapping them, much like you do in a house, so that the bricks don't wobble like backwards and forwards. It's nice to see a couple of people watching live. It's almost definitely people I know. Who's out there? Is anyone prepared to say hello in the chat? Go on, give it a go. Like I mentioned earlier, all of this Duplo is second hand. And Duplo was around when I was a kid. I won't lie, that was over 40 years ago. I reckon some of this is probably older than I am, which it's nice to see after all this time that it can still be put to good use and entertain masses. It's always nice to do a bit for the environment, isn't it? Right, so we need to figure out where to put this guy. I might pace him the other way because else I don't want to go the same way as the T-Rex. Right, so as you can see, if I was to drop that there, he'd be too low. Like if he was here, he'd probably be a little bit too high. But we'll see. Again, it's the nuances of using the dinosaurs. That they've made this dinosaur 5 long. Honestly, I don't know why they do it. Making anything odd numbers in Lego or Duplo is just a nightmare. Because you are then having to compensate by moving it up 1. So there's literally 5 in a row. Anyway, I'll carry on building and just have to figure it out as we go. Right, so we've got to this stage, and suddenly we're higher than the elevator that we're trying to get to, and that's probably because of this ramp's a bit funky. So what we might have to do is add the taller elevator, just to give us a chance to get to the finish point. Right, so let's take those marbles out. We can use this. Wow, that is on there. There we go. We can and bring him out again in a bit. So what we'll do, we'll bring in the elevator here, and we've got to work out how to get the marbles in the first instance from there to there, and then in the second instance from there to here, or wherever it terminates. Right, so I'll put it there for now. Let's see if it's in sort of the right place. Stick a nice bit of green in there. So yeah, there's six pieces. So now we need to fill those 6. Like I say, today I've already done my quota for actual recording, hence why I'm doing a live while I've got the opportunity. Like I say, it's not very nice weather out there. It's very windy and sometimes a bit rainy. Right, let's do a little test. Here we go, through dinosaur. See how these bits accelerate them as well. They hold them up. That's exactly where we want it to get. They accelerate, which is nice. They spin the ball, whiz it up, and then it. Right. So now we need to think, what's the best way of getting from here to here? The thing about marble run, there isn't necessarily a best way. There's 1,000 potential options. Any given course or track that you build, we'll just build it up a little bit. Ultimately, he's going to pop out here. Luckily, so far we've got the right amount of numbers, so we're an even number. This bit here is going to get troublesome before the end. So what we might have to do is accelerate the ball in, so it jumps out. If you go fast enough, you can don't have to worry about them. Right, so we're just building this up now to see what we can do here. There's loads of reasons why kids should be building marble runs. First of all, it's engineering at its heart. I mean, that's why Lego is so awesome. Is that it gets your brain thinking about all of the potential things. And when a lot of kids use Lego, and they build all sorts of things, from spaceships to boats. And I was exactly the same when I was a kid. I think when I was a kid, I probably skipped actual Duplo like this, which is aimed at sort of younger kids, before they sort of inevitably progress onto Duplo, onto Lego, should I say, and more sort of technical bits. I mean, then there's Lego Technics and Meccano and things like that. But ultimately, this is engineering. Creating structures from your brain. Doing so without instructions is something to be encouraged. Right, so we're just making the little bottleneck now. So the marble's going to come up here, and they're going to get spat out onto this little fella here, and hopefully, if all is well, go down that way to sort of make the circle. Fingers crossed. So we just need to figure out how to do that. Is there anybody out there that can say hello on the chat? Haven't seen anyone speak yet. I know people don't necessarily tune in to do that sort of thing. So we're very near there actually. We just have a few more subtle bits to sort of build in. Once we turn this last corner here, again, this is where you can scribble a little speed without really realising it. It's a terrible shame to not make it out now. So if I put in this piece in here, I will anchor the elevator to the ramps. He says, destroys the whole thing. Didn't mean to. Okay, so we just need a quick right turn there, and then it's a bit high. Now find the bits that you want when you need them. Here we go. So this will be the final joining piece. In theory, that should work. Okay. Now, this is one of my favourite bits about marble runs is the sort of feeling you get when you've connected the bottom to the top. Certainly with marble runs like this one. If you're wondering why I'm serving my marbles up on a plate, I did mention earlier that my previous build ended with the marbles ending up in water and bubbles, so they've been drying off, and they are quite dry now, I think. So I'll put 2 or 3 in the hopper; they'll go up straight away. So right, are you ready? So this is like I say, it's a motorized spiral elevator, and it's set to 5 stories. It's customizable to any sort of level. And I'll turn this on, and we should start to see them enter the hopper here. It's gravity fed. It will always leave the last marble in. If you've made your marble run well, it shouldn't fall off anywhere. It shouldn't stall anywhere. Oh no! Why did it stop? It's been really difficult. I've got some marbles stuck in the top of my elevator. What happened? Right, here we go. We'll do a bit of a fix on the fly. Right, we'll talk a bit peaked on here. Right, let's throw those guys down. Yeah, I think what's happened is I've had a small marble in my normal size marble, and it's just popped out of the corkscrew. So I'm just going to fish him out, and it gets a bit stuck in the bottom. Right, getting a bit lively. Right, so let's put this back in. This is the sort of wonderful part of doing things live. Stuff that never normally happens. Right, let's do that again. Very nice. Uh-oh. Question is, how many can I put through it? How many? How many can I do? Oh, the hot out is almost completely full, 100% of the time now. One of my favourite. Oh, got a blockage. Let's get them all going again. You generally find that all marble rooms have a critical mass of how many marbles they can support. And if they start to buffer against one another at the corners or the obstacles, that will feed back up all the way to the top. What I might try and do is I'll pause the elevator and we can start to change a few things out. I've got this little slinky here. It'd be nice to see if I can add that somewhere. Oh, well, that's taking care of itself. All right, guys, get down there. And you. Come on. I was just telling everyone earlier about making sure you don't build in any spill points. Some of these guys, some of these little marbles might actually have water inside of them as the marble one I made earlier. Right, so what we're going to try and do, we're going to try and fit this in. I would normally add this after the fact, but it's just nice to keep things changing up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this little red ramp out, since he's the one that's been holding everyone up. And the way these are supported are by two little bits underneath, so you have to think about how you're going to build that up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn one of these that way, and then I'm going to build up the sides. And by that I mean just a couple of up sections like this, that's skinnies, too deep, only one wide. And the problem is, I don't know if you can see that is now horrendously off center, because it's obviously, I've got to align this here. So again, more thinking on the fly. Let's find the bits that were most appropriate, like this, so I can support it. Basically, why building stuff like this is fantastic for kids' brains, because it has them thinking. It has me thinking. Right, so what we're going to do, we're going to plonk that there. Oh, it's actually one level, one half level, should I say, too low. So I'm just going to raise him up. It's not the prettiest of construction. It means that this lines up with this. And now what we can do is add that. I feel that that's not going to work, because the slinky is now going up. It needs to always maintain it down, so this dinosaur might need to come out of that particular location. And then what we can do, we can add it to maybe a down ramp there, maybe something a bit special. Let's find something that might fit that bill. Right, so here we have a little step. I have done the maths correctly. I should be able to add that into there like this. And there's just one little thing to fasten it on. Now what you generally find is that if these are not oriented downward enough, the marble will get stuck in the slinky. So fingers crossed. Oh, that's what I'm doing there. Well, I've made a bit of a faux pas there, because that is also too low. By raising this up, this may. Right, let's try again. Golly, it works. Okay, so let's turn this back on. Let's see what happens when it's put under some stress. Here we go. Pop, pop. Here we go. I want to slow right down here though. I normally like things to flow a little bit better than that. And the problem with these is when too many balls go in the top, they get stuck. Yeah, as much as I love using the dinosaurs, just the spiral. As much as I love using the dinosaurs, I think it can cause the flow to be disrupted a little bit, which is fine. Just need to unblock that particular one. And we think about what we might want to do next. We're losing a lot of speed on this particular. I'm marbling that. Lose a lot of speed on this corner. It might be better spent doing something else. So you could also potentially add a splitter. Now, a splitter could potentially send the ball one or two different directions. I have a couple of different types. I have sort of a one where it just falls onto a ramp that goes one or two ways. And I do have this sort that's slightly more mechanical in nature, where it flips backwards and forwards. I can't see one without digging too much into the right. That's okay. We'll see if we can't build one of these in. They're very tall. That's the only sort of which means that when they drop several layers. So you have to think about where you can put them. So in this particular case, we'd have to put them in quite soon. Like that. So that would roll into this, and it can go one of two ways. It can come out your side, or it can come out my side. But then you've got to build something to accommodate it. So what we might need to think about is the space where I've just spent all this time putting the slinky in, so if we can re-engineer this space to be something a bit better. So all of this stuff here, take out, and then what we'll do, we'll start to create two separate paths. So that'll be path 1, and that'll be path 2. Obviously, we've only got one destination at this time. So what we can also use is a combiner, and this is a combining box, and you can drop models in from two separate directions and it pop out in just one. So what we might end up doing is using the combining box in a little bit. I'm going to put that there for now, while I start to think about how I'm going to create two routes from here. It's always interesting to add multiple routes. The build that I did earlier today had 3 separate potential routes that could go, and one of those routes ended up dumping it into the bubble bath that I built for it. Right, so what would be quite good is if we utilise some of what we've already left out. Since we're not going to use the dinosaurs for this particular one, sorry guys, we are going to have to sort of rebuild what I put out here. Okay, so we kind of need a supporting out ramp here first. So what I'm thinking, to keep it interesting, is to come out straight away, maybe do a loop-the-loop, go underneath itself. That'd be cool. Right, so what I need to do is probably build up from the very base, which means something down there to sort of support it. There we go. Easy when you've got a few bits already made up. I know it all, looking at it from your perspective, it all looks quite. Right. With a building, change your mind. It's not fixed in stone. There is no right or wrong answer. You just keep going until you've got something that works. Then you make it into something else, and something else, and something else, and something else, and something else. Ooh, that's cool. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to have the track coming down here. And since I'm not using this corner section for anything at the moment, I'm going to have it. I want it to intersect with this. So I might have to punch a hole through here. So it's going to come around here, and it's going to come down, and hopefully go around in like a bit of a loop-de-loop. So, without any further ado, let's try and make that a reality. YouTube cuts me off. Thank you, YouTube, for facilitating. Right. Right, so I'm just adding this start of this loop that I always tell you about. You've got to remember to do all the things that you've been previously doing, like not scrubbing your speed too much. See, before too long, after one corner, you've scrubbed so much speed that you don't want your balls to stall. Right, so I'm just going to build this sort of you can't actually see this bit from back there, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to punch a hole in here. There's always some drama when punching a hole in a supporting wall. I've done it in a house, you know what I mean. Right, and then what we can do, we can turn this corner, and then I can start to figure out how to make this hole. I just need this bit that I'm building back here to be the same height as this here as it comes through here. Then that will create one of two ways that this separator can send the marble. And this probably the second one. I'll probably have that round. Might even have a cross-section piece, like a junction piece, where it can go both ways. This orange piece is primed for that, so that's what I'm going to be doing. It does sometimes cause a collision, but who doesn't like a little bit of drama in the marble room? I certainly do. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Nope, wrong side. Try again. So I've still got plenty of speed. That's grand. And then I'm going to make sure that the speed is good as we turn this corner, because this is the bit that's now going to poke through. Just make a little bridge. I have a little bridge piece where you can. Right. So this is where now we have to punch a hole here. I mean, breaking a massive piece off, and hope you don't do too much damage that you can't repair it after. Take that piece out. This piece. Maybe this piece. Ooh. Ah. Okay, so that makes a nice little hole. We you've got to be mindful that this is all supporting stuff. So, oh gosh, it's going a bit peaked on. Okay, so the ramp is going to, I just need to figure out how long of a piece that I need to put through. Right, so I've got this piece here. That might work. I can build that over the top of it. Great, that'll work. So put that there, and put this here, and it all can squash back down into its. So I've now made sort of a little out pipe. Looks like a waste pipe. So what will happen is the ball will go down there and then pop out there, exactly as I wanted. And it's at a reasonable height as well. So what we might be able to do, oh my gosh, that lines up so well. I just stick in one of these, stick in one of these, and that now connects. Wow, doesn't normally go as well as that. Yeah, buddy. Okay, onward. Right, so we've still got one more thing to build, and that is the second option from this particular split up. So I now need to build up something else. There's a bit of space back here, which is great. I'm just going to throw some bits and pieces in to get to the height, so I'm not building too long around the back where you can't see. Right, I need a sort of corner piece. Place my hands on one. Again, it's very easy when you pop out of these to lose your speed. So if you turn the corners too severely, too sharply, you need really to be thinking about dropping down a ramp as soon as possible to keep your speed. So that's what we'll do in a sec. Right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to cross the streams here. It's a bit risky because it means putting a cross piece in. If you don't know what that means, normally marble run is all one channel until you get these fellas. That means it can go one over, or it can go any which way. So my intended target is to replace that orange, so the marbles can go this way, and then they can go that way. It can mean that you are building in a point where they can collide, but that's okay. That's what makes a lot of this fun. Right, so I'm going to pop that there, pop that here. This is assuming that I come out here with enough speed, which I'll test in a sec. That should all be okay. Just need another journey to the corner. Here's one. I've still got to bridge that gap. Pop that there to reinforce it. Right, let's just see what happens when we pop a marble. I dropped it down. That's one more. Getting on marble. It rolls that way, okay. And before I lose a marble down there, which I'll never get back, let's build up the sort of a bit to bridge the gap down here. The very top piece. There we go. And we can just pop in just a single piece of straight track. Yellow will do. So now we've got a nice little double loop going on. Who doesn't like a bit of double loop? Now I need to figure out what I'm going to do next, since I've kind of got to combine this track. So now let's think about This might be an easy win if this works. It doesn't feel like it's in exactly the right place. It feels like I need it to be more there, and that introduces a bit of a problem. I don't like problems. So if I put that in, and it's come out and gets stuck, because I wonder if I do it a little bit higher, it's not going to work either. So what I might have to do is build a supporting arm out of there. The compromises I have to make these work sometimes. It's ridiculous. That might work. I'm going to come at it from a different way. Reorientate the problem. It is howling wind out there. I don't know what the weather's like where you guys are. Yeah, I'm not even sure this combine is going to work. It's going to introduce more problems than it's going to solve. So, what can we do about it? Well, there's always something you can do. Just to figure it out. Probably the next logical step is to bring this marble down over here alongside and then spit it back down there. So that's what we'll do. I need now that's going to come down here with enough momentum to take it around this corner, so I just need to build that up both sides. There, put that there, put that there. And then just need something to bridge that gap. Which is loads of those. Right, so that gets us to here. Then we can run it down. Don't worry, guys. We'll turn it on soon. Always a nice relief when the track works, even if it is not exactly as you imagined it. Right, let's turn this corner. Turn it. Well done, Martin. There's this corner, and then straight into a down ramp. So, and now we've got to lose quite a bit of height here now, so we might end up just being ramp up to ramp up to ramp. That's okay. Ramp, ramp, ramp. And the problem is using so many ramps in a row is that they gain a lot of speed. So we just have to be a little bit mindful that we're introducing a lot of kinetic energy. Let's get this finished before my stream runs out. Right, add that to that, add that to that. Okay. So now we are running out of runway. So essentially we need to get it back to here. Okey-dokey. So that gets me to there. We'll need to drop quickly, so using one of these sorts of ramps, and then what we'll do at the bottom, we'll just steer it into the other channel. Hopefully that will work. It looks quite complicated, doesn't it? More complicated a design than I was planning to do today. Thought I'd just make a simple one, see if anyone tunes in. It's nice when people tune in. It's nice to be able to do these things. Right, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create like a quick S shape and drop the marble from above into the channel below. It's normally quite a reliable move. Soon I've got 60 bridge. I'll be a little bit careful that I'm not introducing the bit that really fall off the corner. That happen. Right, so that's going to go that way. It's going to go that way. Now, assuming everything else is equal, that should just drop this ball on top of those. Now, obviously, the problem comes if there's already balls waiting. So this might be another one of those that's got a critical mass. Right, so let's just simplify what I've got out, and we can switch it all on. That'd be nice. Okay, right. So we have a divider, a cross section, 5 floor elevator, multicolored single platform, marble run. I didn't think there was such a complex category for them. Right, there we go. Let's see what happens. Best way to test is to play. So let's roll. Right, it's out of my hands now. So all we want is to avoid stall points like this. When you turn a lot of corners in a row, or if the balls collide, it takes the speed out of them. Sometimes the track lifts up a little bit over time, so you just give it all a little bit of a push. For the most part, it's quite perpetual. It'll just keep going. Just got to keep your eye on any that might pop out to get a bit lively. See, we've had a collision here. It messes everything up. You know, you've done a pretty decent effort when the balls just keep going round and round and round. There's been times when I've left one going for quite some time, come back and it's still going. But if you want that to be the case, don't add crossroads in like I did. Adds a bit of jeopardy, that's all. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. If you're just passing through, just give the channel a subscribe. That'd be ace. This is only my second ever live build, and I think it's quite a good one. It's not turned out too bad. Ooh. If you're watching this back later from a different part of the world, just have a comment underneath and where you're from. That'd be nice. And it is at different times of day sometimes, so if you know what time zone you're in. Rosemary is on the way. Oh, Timothy, keep going. Now I see the hopper fall. Oh, that was a lively one. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Please give the channel a subscribe. More content coming up later today. Thank you for tuning in. I'd say only my second live, but I'm quite chuffed with how that build came together. And I will see you soon. Alright. Cheers guys. Mart out.